Yeah, LTL true crime, we going deep in the dark. Yeah, peeling back the layers, expose the hidden mark. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie, getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi. LTL true crime, unraveling the web of evil. No stone left unturned, we dive into the prime. Yeah, we digging up the dirt, bringing justice to the crime. LTL true crime, unveiling dark realities every time. Yeah, LTL true crime, we going deep in the dark. Peeling back the layers, expose the hidden mark. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie, getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi. LTL true crime, go. We don't get hit in the shine, but then I'm not talking about it, that's so. Look at the place in your phone. Look into it, you lie. Look into it, you lie. We thought it done. Yeah, we thought it died. I don't know any rebels. Hey, I think real true crime. You know what dark realities every time. This is yeah, I think real true crime. You know what dark realities every time. Yeah, LTL true crime. We going deep in the dark. Yeah, peeling back the layers, expose the hidden mark. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie, getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi. LTL true crime. We going deep in the dark. Yeah, peeling back the layers, expose the hidden mark. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie, getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi. LTL true crime, we going deep in the dark. Yeah, peeling back the layers, expose the hidden mark. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie, getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi.
Okay, we'll start over. We'll start over. I see muted. Thank you for everybody letting me muted. So welcome back to LTL Live. We're live here on Tuesday, February 20th, 2022. I'm going to adjust my camera here. Thank you for letting me know it was muted. But there is something seriously going on in Brockton, especially in the high school. And I mean, it's so bad right now. They're calling for the National Guard. That means that the people that are elected in those positions, the people that are on the school board committees, are not doing their jobs. It all starts at the top. It all starts at the top. And when you are so desperate to call in the National Guard, that should ring a bell. That should ring a bell in someone's head. Hey, we have a situation here. But I'm so glad that people on that school committee that are not afraid to stand up and stick up for what is right. One, the community. Two, those children. Three, for the teachers that are going through all this harassment. We have comments from Maura Healy. Oh, we're looking into it. We have comments from the mayor. Oh, we're looking into it. We have comments from the new mayor. I'm sorry, the new principal. Oh, we're going to improve. Well, what are you going to do? You're going to wait? You're going to wait until this turns into an awful situation, a school shooting situation? And the people that are standing up in that community right now, they don't want that blood on their hands. That's why they're stepping up. because if shit goes down, they don't want to be called out for it, for not saying anything. And I commend the brave souls that have stood up, because you know what situations like this happen. You know what happens. It becomes very political. Oh, you're turning against us. You know, you're being the backstabbers. You're calling for this. No, they're not going to put up with it. And I applaud those people. And I want to say this right now at the opening of the show. If anybody in that area is standing up against this and wants to get this out to another platform, I will allow you to come on. I would welcome you to come on LTL True Crime. Just email me, let's talk live podcast at gmail.com. I will get you on the show. We will talk about this. We will get the message out. We will talk about the people that are saying, oh, this is not right. We can't do this. Well, you are not doing your job. The number one thing is when our children, and I don't have children, but I'm saying our children, your children, leave the home, if the state wants to control the schools and the education, it is their job to protect your child when they go to school. It's not clearly getting done in Brockton. And something needs to happen. Something needs to change. Let's pull this article up. This is from the New York Post. Massachusetts school requests National Guard to rein in violent students, drugs, sex, and drugs in classrooms. It's so bad right now. I was listening to one of the community meetings, and we're going to play about an hour of that today. And if I have to come back, I'm going to continue talking about this until something gets done. Until something gets done. 4,300 students in that school versus how many teachers? You have violent outbreaks every day. And this is not something that just has recently happened. This has been going on. And I think finally people got smart and they started speaking up. And they held a press conference yesterday, and we're going to hear that. And then we're going to play one of the community meetings to let you know what's going on inside of Brockton High School. So Massachusetts school requests National Guard to rein in violent students, sex, and drugs in classrooms. This was published yesterday. A member of the Massachusetts High School Committee sent a letter asking their mayor to deploy National Guard troops to rein in violent chaos on campuses, ranging from daily brawls in the halls to frequent drug use and fornication in empty classrooms. I'm going to have to say this too. I'm not going to totally blame all of this on the schools, because we know where this all starts. You know where this all starts. Where does this behavior start? This behavior starts at home. So where are the parents? Where are the parents policing their children? Where are the parents instilling good values in their children? Do any of these parents even know where their kids are right now? Probably not. Probably not. So it starts with your children inside the home, inside the communities, then inside your schools, outside in society. If you're raising your kid to be a thug and be a drug user and be someone that participates in violent activity, we know what the ultimate end game is: that prison, death, murder, violence, gangs. You know, we spend a lot of time in Massachusetts worrying about where we're going to place all those fun-loving people that are coming over our border right now illegally. We worry about where we place those people in our community and giving money to those causes, but we do not help our neighborhoods. We don't help our schools. You know, I was just looking at an article today, and I find this hilarious because I don't believe a word of it. I don't believe a word of it. Right here. From Boston.com, Massachusetts ranks 5th in the nation for education, first for student success. Does this look like student success that's going on in Brockton? Does this look like the 5th rank in the nation in Brockton? And this is a recent article. This is January 30th of 2023. It's about a year old. Only about a year old. I don't think much has changed in a year. Massachusetts has the 5th best education system in the country for 2023, according to a report from Schoolaroo. I don't even know if that's even a credible source. 4 New England states made up the top 5 list. Schooler is a scholarship finding service that has released data reports related to education. Its 2023 best and worst school system scoring is based on 3 categories: student success, student safety, and school quality. Do you think that Brockton High School is hitting any of those marks right now? For Christ's sakes, they just had a press conference yesterday calling for the National Guard because those teachers don't want blood on their hands if something goes majorly wrong. And what are we going to do? Maura Healey, what are we going to do? The mayor of Brockton, excuse me, I forgot his name at the moment. We're just going to continue to say, oh, we're looking into it. And then what? Something's going to happen? You're going to have an awful situation at the school where people get hurt? And then what are you going to say? Oh, well, we were looking into it. Well, that's not good enough. It's not good enough. The state's education system ranked first in student success, 14th in student safety, and 6th in student quality. The overall score of 83, putting it 3 points behind New Jersey, which ranked first overall. Thank you, Robert Sullivan. Thank you. Student success accounted for 25 points in total, student quality for 35 points, and student safety for 40 points on student safety. The measures to measure student success, Schooler will use 40 considerations, including test scores, high school dropout rates, and college ongoing rates. Does this look like you right now in Brockton that we are ranked 5th in education and 1st for student success? I don't think so. Let's go back to the Post. Recent events at Brockton High School have prompted us to seek immediate assistance to prevent a potential tragedy. 4 members of the Brockton School Committee wrote in a February 15th letter. And thank God that these people are standing up. They're not worried. They're not worried to be called woke or racist or any of that shit. The bottom line here is they care about those kids. They care about the teachers in that school. That's what this is about. Protection. And ending all this shit. Over the past few months, our high school has experienced a disturbing increase in incidences related to violence, security concerns, and substance abuse. For Christ's sakes, there's one teacher, and you're going to see this, she won't even go to the bathroom. She waits till school ends to go to the bathroom. That's how bad it is in that school. And I'm not saying every student is bad, but it's looking like there's a majority of them that are. And there probably are a lot of productive students that want to be there, but they need to be protected. We trust the school when our child leaves the home to go there for a few hours and spend to be educated. Then you need to step up and do your job to protect. If you want our child educated, then it is your job to protect them during that time. You know, I think a lot of this too boils down to, do we suspend kids anymore? Is that too racist or too woke? Do we discipline our children in schools anymore? Are kids getting kicked out for this type of behavior? No, that would be racist. That would be woke. We can't do that. That's why the problem continues. There is no discipline when things like this happen. So it continues, the definition of insanity over and over and over again. When you continue the behavior, when you allow the behavior will continue. And you just keep spinning in that hamster wheel because there's no discipline. It just keeps going and going and going and going and going. There's no end game. But thankfully, 4 people on this committee have stepped up and said, yeah, this needs to end. It needs to end because it's not going to be on me if something goes bad. And I don't blame them for getting out and putting their name on the record. I don't blame them because it's sure looking like something might happen. So it goes on to say, for over the past few months, our high school has experienced a disturbing increase in incidents related to violence, security concerns, and substance abuse. The situation has reached a critical point more recently when we had an alarming 35 teachers absent, underscoring the severity of challenges we are facing. It continued. Excuse me. You have the committee here, and we're going to play this press conference here in a minute. It says Brockton School Committee, this was yesterday, located about 20 miles south of downtown Boston. Brockton High School is the largest in the state and is with enrolled of 4,300 students. And teachers have been complaining for months that the mass of students have descended into an unruly mob that roves the halls during class time, comes and goes from school grounds as it pleases, and engages in vicious brawls daily. They are having sex and doing drugs and cutting class in empty classrooms, said BH teacher Early Merkin during an emergency committee meeting in early February, where several teachers and administrators shared their experiences and fears about the crisis at Brockton High School. We are in chaos. We need help. The school secretary, Sherry Mazzanoli, I think that's how I say it, who recounted being trampled by a mob of students racing down the hallway to catch a glimpse of a fight. The crowd came down the hall so quickly that I got swept up, not by students fighting, but by the students that were rushing to watch a video and video the fight, she said. Just a week before the meeting, a student was sent to the hospital by an ambulance after a fight. That was a brutal assault, said the school committee chair by Brockton Mayor Robert Sullivan. And this is the guy that says he keeps going into and saying, oh, we're looking into it. We're going to look into it. Yeah, we're going to look into it. Don't worry, we're looking into it. Back in May, 2 students were stabbed during a brawl on the school playing field, with one of them, injured, have to be airlifted to a hospital, according to the Enterprise. Unfortunately, staff now feels it's a matter of time before someone dies in our hallways, Mazzoli said at the meeting. This gentleman here is a teacher here and a coach. He actually had his arm broken, trying to break up a brawl. Cliff Caravan of Brockton High School math teacher and cross-country coach had his arm broken in December while breaking up a fight. But faculty fears extends beyond the students. Many expect that it's only a matter of time before they get pulled into the line of fire, and someone already have been. Can you imagine if a gun got into that school during one of these fights? How tragic it would be. This year, it's not a matter of if. I feel like it's a matter of when, math teacher Julie Fairfield said, explaining that at 21 years, she never felt afraid in her classroom, but she now fears being attacked by her own students. Another Brockton High School math teacher, Cliff Caravan, had his arm broken in December when attacked while trying to restrain somebody who's kicking an unconscious student in the head. My focus was on those kids' safety, Caravan said. Where's the focus on ours? The problem has become so desperate for teachers that many have taken to calling in sick due to the fears of being attacked at school. It just breaks my heart. I don't know who to call anymore. I don't know who to contact. There seems to be no structure, Fairfield said. You are failing your students, not the teachers, the superintendent, and the people that are at the top of the food chain for this high school are failing. The mayor is failing. The governor is failing. Why are you not down there and putting a plan in place today? Oh, we can't bring in the National Guard. It'll be a bad look. Oh, everybody's worried. It'll be a police school. Well, maybe you need that. Maybe you need some discipline. I saw earlier in the chat, they were talking about Joe Clark. Lean on me. We need someone tough in that school to kick people out, to protect the students that want to be there. But, oh, that'll look bad. It'll be a political thing. At this point, who gives a shit? Protect your kids. Do the right thing. Protect the teachers that want to be there and be productive in educating these students. And believe me, I'm not yelling at everybody there. I'm not yelling at the people that want to be productive. And I'm so glad that there are people sticking up, because a lot of these situations, and believe me, this is not just happening in Brockton. This is happening all over the nation. But what happens is people get afraid to stand up and say anything about it. And then what ends up happening when we find out, when there's a tragic school shooting, oh, I knew about this 2 years ago, but I didn't say anything in fears that I would be ridiculed. Well, the times of that need to change. Let's wake up, people. Sullivan sent a request on Saturday to Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey, who was authorized to deploy the National Guard, but noted that it did not support the measure. Healey's office did not respond to the request for comment at this time of the publication. We had another article here. This was from PBS. Massachusetts school officials asked for governor to send the National Guard to help with unruly high school. Brockton, Mass. Officials had asked Governor Maura Healey to send in the Massachusetts National Guard to stop the violence and address security concerns at a troubled high school in city south of Boston. Some schools committees members said on Monday. 4 of the 7 members of the Brockton School Committee backed the National Guard request amid teacher shortages and budget deficits, but city officials weren't unanimous in their support. The governor's office acknowledged the concerns about Brockton High School, where teachers reported fighting and drug use in the hallways and verbal abuse of the staff. Our administration is committed to ensuring that schools are safe and supportive environments for students, educators, and staff, Healey's office said. Do you think you're doing that right now? Do you think you're doing that? Where are you today? Are you down there at that school having a press conference? Brockton Mayor Robert Sullivan, who serves as the chair of the school committee, said they forwarded the request to the governor on Friday, even though he opposed to it. National Guard soldiers are not the answer. Then what is? What is the answer? What is your plan, sir? What is your plan, sir? Because people are getting hurt. They're being airlifted. This is a big problem. Students are physically getting beaten to the point that they need to be airlifted from this high school. What is your answer, sir? You're failing this community. And this is what I talk about all the time, that you need to get out. Hello, people. Time to wake up. I'm going to wake you up right now. It is time to wake up and look at the local officials that are running your community. You're clearly seeing this in the Karen Reed case in Canton, Massachusetts. And I'm so glad that there are adults now standing up, people that want to change that community, like Rita Lombardi, that is going to run for select board. We need more people like her in this community to put their foot down and say, time to wake up. You know, we keep voting these same people in thinking that it's going to get better, that they're the next swindle that they give you for their campaign. Do you understand it's not working? You know, everybody votes. Oh, did they have a D in front of the name or do they have an R? Are they an I? Let's actually look at these people. Look into their background. Look at their qualifications. I don't even care. If they're not getting it done, they need to go. And you're seeing the state of Massachusetts is getting worse. It's not at the top anymore. We have a huge homeless problem here. We have a huge drug problem here. Our roads are awful. Our schools are terrible. Our education is going down. Teachers don't want to teach here in our schools anymore because they are afraid for their safety. The job is not getting done. Stop voting these people in. They don't care. All they care about at the end of the day is their paycheck. They're not working for you, and they're not working to better your community. And that's why I said, everybody focus way too much on these national elections. You need to get good people in that want to help your community because it's where you live. That's where you're going to spend probably the rest of your life if you choose to live there. School committee members have backed the request to hold a news conference on Monday, and we're going to play that to press their case for help. They said National Guard personnel could be used to hall monitors and even substitute teachers. We're not asking them to deploy a whole army to our school. We're just asking for support, committee member Anna Oliver said. And again, if anybody is watching this, anybody on that community that is watching this and wants a platform, you can come to LTL True Crime. I will allow you to come on my show, and I will allow you to speak. Reach out to me at letstalklivepodcast@gmail.com. We will give you this platform to sound off on. If you support safety in our schools, you will support the National Guard to come here and keep our schools safe, said Tony Rodriguez, another committee member. Students are not in class this week. The police chief will provide an update on the efforts to address the problem after the winter break concludes, the mayor said. So we're going to wait now. Now we're going to wait. We're going to get suppose we're going to get an update in a week. Well, why wasn't this happening last year? When a student got airlifted, student was hurt and beaten severely, they had to be airlifted from that high school. Unreal. Unbelievable. Shame on you. All right, let's watch that meeting, and then I do want to play some of the committee meeting that they have, and you can hear all the community sounding off, the teachers in that community sounding off, the teachers that teach at that high school sounding off, and let's play through this.
A letter was sent. So a letter actually was drafted. We started more than a couple of weeks ago, and we held off on it. We got to the point where we're seeking help. So a letter was drafted. Many of you have seen it, and it was sent to our mayor, our delegation, our city council,
Basil Bezel,
asking them for some support
super sticker. I
and to
appreciate
reach
it.
out to the governor for some support. So the letter was sent out on Friday. Our mayor did reply that he received the letter within a half hour of receiving it, and he did forward the letter to Governor Healy. And I mean, that's all I have to say is our letter was drafted, sent out, and we're just looking for a little bit of support within Brockton Public Schools. So I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you, Tony Rodriguez, Ward 4 School Committee member. As my colleague stated, we did send a letter out to the mayor requesting support from
If anybody knows any of these individuals, especially Tony, please get him my contact. If he wants to come on the show, I'm going to try to track him down and see if I can get him over here. But if he wants to come on my show and speak about this, I would love to have him as a guest, because he seems like the one that has been put forward to be the leader of this community, the people that are speaking up. So if anybody knows him, let him know. Email me, letstalklivepodcast@gmail.com. I'll have you on the show, and I'd love to hear your perspective of this, give you a platform.
Requesting the National Guard be deployed to the city of Brockton to give us support. This isn't something that is negative. The National Guard does bring positivity. We use them to deploy COVID vaccinations, but where we are in the city of Brockton, with the deficit that created this mess, we're looking for support with the National Guard to come in and act as substitute teachers, hall monitors, to make sure that the high school is safe. And it's not just the high school. It also includes our middle schools and elementary schools. And it's across the district.
And it's a trickle-down effect now, or the trickle-up effect, because the parenting is not happening at the homes. That behavior continues through the grade school, the middle school, and then what happens when you get into high school. So it's just trickling up. And again, this all starts in the community, and it starts at home. These parents need to be educated. These parents need to be taught. Why not go into those communities and have frequent meetings, or have something, a town hall? Let's discuss this. What happened to DARE programs? Are there even DARE programs anymore? I hear nothing of that in schools anymore. I don't even know if we have, I know that we have hall monitors. I used to have hall monitors, student hall monitors back in the day. I don't even know if they do that anymore. Is that racist? Is it too woke? Are we doing things like that? Where are those programs? Where are the parent-teacher meeting nights? I remember, was it PTA? My parent used to have to go talk to our teachers, in schools and let them know, this is how your child is being in class. This is some things that he has to work on. Do they even do that anymore? Are they allowed to do that anymore?
Brockton is not the only community that is dealing with student violence. It's across the Commonwealth. We've seen Framingham dealing with the same issue, but I hope the governor does meet with us, and we'll make that request. I know some people don't support it, but if you support safety in our schools, you will support the National Guard to come in here and keep our students safe. And I could leave it to my other colleagues to make any other statements.
Hi, my name is Anna Oliver, Ward 3 School Committee. I know there's a lot of negative comments regarding the National Guard coming out here, but we're not asking them to deploy a whole army to our school. We're asking for support, especially with the teacher shortage throughout Commonwealth of Massachusetts. But not only that, I also want to highlight that we have some great students in Brockton. They're doing excellent work. They're coming in, getting their education. They're following the policy, the authority with the educators. But we do have some that continue to not do what they're supposed to be doing, and that's what we need help with.
Good morning. My name is Claudia Gomes, Ward 2 School Committee. One thing that I wanted to quickly touch base is to let everybody know that I know that the first thought that comes to mind when you hear National Guard is uniform and arms. And that's not the case. They're people like us, they're educated, they're trained, and we just need their assistance right now. We need more staff.
No, it does come down to that because everybody is so afraid to speak up. I can't say anything. They might call me a racist. They might call me this. They might label as that. I have to stay quiet. I can't say this. It's not inclusive enough. People need to get over that shit and just speak up. I'm tired of hearing all this in our society. The shit that's been put on us over the last 5 years. Don't say anything. You might be this. You might be that. You might be this. You might get labeled as that. They're even saying it. There's people that don't like what we're doing right now. Why? What is the problem? What is the problem? To protect your children? To protect the people that are teaching in your schools? That's such an awful thing. Oh, I might be a racist if I call in the National Guard. Oh no, the police state is going to come and invade our schools. No, they're coming to protect. That's what these teachers want, because clearly it's not getting done. It's not getting done from the top. They're not listening. That's why they had to go to this measure in this length to call now people to the table and get attention on it. That's how bad it is there. Students are getting beaten and airlifted from the high school. They're getting beaten so bad. So yeah, it does come down to that. It comes down to fear. If you speak up, you will be labeled as. These people don't give a shit, because I'm telling you right now, the bottom line is they don't want the blood on their hands. If something goes down in that school and someone else gets severely hurt, or multiple people or a teacher killed or whatever, they don't want it on their hands. That's why they're speaking up. And I'm going to tell you, if something majorly happens, all those people at the top have to speak for it. They should all be fired and out of there. Needs to stop.
For our staff
Needs to
and
stop.
help the students, learn, have a safe environment. So that's the case for us. We need the hands, and they have it. So why not provide their assistance? That's all I have to say. Thank you.
And you can tell they're afraid.
Just to close off, we don't want to make this a lot of question and answers, because we act as a whole body, and this is 4 members that are taking the leadership role to make sure that our schools are safe. It starts at the top, and our chair has failed to bring us together and unite us so that we can come with a concrete plan to make sure that the schools are safe and making sure our staff is safe as well. You could see that a few weeks ago, that when we called the meeting, there was the 4 of us that gave the staff the space to speak about what is really going on in our district. And that was just a light on the high school and not what's going on in the middle schools or in our elementary schools as well. So we took it upon ourselves to show that we are just not leaders when we convene as a group or outside of those meetings, and that's why we call for this. But I do employ the governor, and I hope every city official that is watching in the community, that we do need to take our schools back into control and making sure that our students have a safe learning environment, because what's going on at the high school is disheartening, and kids are losing precious learning time when kids are causing chaos. Thank you, and have a good day.
How much funding was cut?
Another thing too, myself, not speaking for the members, we do need to look at Chapter 222 and repeal that because it's not working. It's across the district, and I employ the community and the residents that are watching that Chapter 222 needs to go because this is what it's causing for our district. Thank you very much.
So why is the National Guard necessary? We need to know this.
Because you're not, I mean, is it that obvious, lady? Why is the National Guard necessary? Do you see what's going on in the school? This is how dumb people are. Why is the National Guard necessary? Because you're not getting the job done protecting students and teacher and getting law and order in those hallways. 4,300 students. That's like it's like a college campus. And it's out of order. There's daily brawls, there's drug use, there's people getting hurt, teachers getting their arms broken. Like, what the fuck? Wake up. Why is the National Guard necessary? All right, let's hear it from the other side.
Right now in WBZ, the call to bring the National Guard into Brockton High School. Tonight, parents who admit they're worried about the school say calling in the Guard is a step too far. But half of the school committee says teachers and administrators need the help. Thank you for joining us. I'm David Wade.
And I'm Paula Evan. Lisa's off tonight. Now, we've shown you over the last few weeks how violence is getting worse in schools, but no school board has made a request like this. WBZ's Christina Rex is live for us in Brockton tonight. And Christina, I know you've just learned some new information.
Yeah, David and Paula, fighting here at Brockton High has been a repeat issue as of late. We actually just learned that 11 teenage students were arrested and criminally charged just this past Thursday after a big fight broke out here at Brockton High. And the concern here is that there isn't enough staff to stop these fights from happening.
But we're not asking them to deploy a whole army to our school. We're asking for support.
Support from the National Guard. In a letter sent to the mayor and community leaders Friday, 4 members of Brockton's school committee asked for guardsmen to come work at Brockton High for, quote, immediate assistance to prevent a potential tragedy. Writing, our high school has experienced a disturbing increase in incidents related to violence, security concerns, and substance abuse.
He sounds like he's scared to come to Brockton High.
Anna Reyes' grandson is a freshman. He doesn't want to come to school because of drugs and repeat fights.
We hereby call.
In a school committee meeting last month, teachers were in tears, pleading for help to control students getting violent at school.
I don't even like to leave my classroom anymore. I usually will wait until after school to go to the bathroom.
Unreal.
Nearly 4,000 kids go to Brockton High. While all guardians we spoke to agree that violence is a huge issue, they say bringing in the National Guard is a step too far.
This is not a military school. This is Brockton High School.
Give the power to the teachers and the administrators to do what they're supposed to, what they're trained to do.
Another reason.
I think I'm on another fucking planet right now. I can't even believe the words that just came out of those individuals' mouths. I need to go back and hear that. I need to hear this. I have to go back and hear this. I gotta hear this.
This is not a military school. This is Brockton High School.
No one said it's a military school. No one said it's a military school. They don't want a military school. They want control in their hallways. They want safety on that campus, if you want to call it a campus, a very large school. I'm going to call it a campus. They want to feel secure when they go and do their job. Students are even saying, I don't even want to go to school because there's so much drugs and violence. We need law and order inside that school. Organization, leadership at the top that's going to say, if you are going to be a screw up and you are going to be violent, then you are gone. We will not deal with you anymore. Figure it out.
Give the power to the teachers and the administrators to do what they're supposed to, what they're trained to do.
Clearly the training is not working. And clearly people that are in the highest rank are not stepping up and doing their job.
Another resource, the police officers who already work full-time in the school.
First of all, stunned.
Mo Kennedy heads the National Association of School Resource Officers. He says there are situations in schools where teachers can't necessarily intervene, but officers can and should.
You know, there's a difference between a shoving match and an outright assault. When we're talking about an assault, now we're talking about a criminal matter that really needs to be dealt with.
Now, only Governor Healy can activate the National Guard. We did reach out to her office. No word on whether she has any plans to activate the Guard, but a spokesperson did say she's aware of the issue here and is in touch with local officials. Now, coming up at 6, why some parents are actually calling for state laws to change to tackle the issue of school violence. I'll explain. Live in Brockton, Christina Rex, WBZ News.
All right, let's go to one of the school committee meetings. This happened back on January 31st. 2024. They did have a more recent one, but I liked this because you're hearing from a lot of people in that community. I'll play a little while of it here. We'll sit back. It's a very long meeting. Even if I have to do a part 2 to it, we'll play half of it today, maybe half at another time too. But let's get into this just to give you an idea of how teachers and people in that community are feeling.
We hereby call the special school committee meeting to order. We are at the Dr. William H. Arnone Theater, 135 Belmont Street here in the city of Brockton, 02301. It being Wednesday, the 31st of January, 2024, 5:45 p.m. I would ask that we please stand and salute the American flag at this time, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty, justice for all. I would like to read into the record, as we do every school committee meeting, the following. This meeting will be held and will be accessible to the public via Comcast Channel 8 and also the 1071 HD version, and also online via the following link, which is www.youtube.com/the Brockton
Now,
channel.
their next meeting is not scheduled until March 5th. So I want to see some significant change in between there. I don't think it's going to happen. I think this is going to be another thing where they keep passing the buck along the way, and nothing gets done here until someone's seriously hurt.
As always, we want to thank Tom
Out of
and the
hand.
team
It's
at PCA
chaos.
for being here. Just for point of information, a couple of people called my office today saying, you know, why are you at the Arnone School? The Brockton High School Drama Club is hosting the February Fest, the Feb Fest they do. So the little theater right now has a lot of sets and
I'm just
props.
going to fast forward a little bit.
McDonald.
Ms. McDonald, please.
Good evening, Mayor Sullivan, school committee, and Dr. Cobbs. I'm Stacy McDonald, the union president for the Brockton Educational Support Professional Association, BESPA. I'd like to share some quotes with you from my high school members as it relates to the daily safety and security issues at BHS that are overwhelmingly shocking and deplorable. Quote, I walked into the girls' bathroom. They were all smoking. I asked them to put it out. They did. Then 5 minutes later, they're doing it again. Same individuals called down. I reported it. Nothing was done. Sexual activity in the stairwell, reported it. I doubt anything is done. Never is. Walking into my classroom in the Fine Arts Building, looked out the window, saw our students letting 3 kids in the Azure door. Called down, reported it. Nothing done. Students being sent to the dean's office, coming back 10, 15 minutes later. Nothing done. I was told to F off and mind my business numerous times. This is how all staff is spoken to. Knocked to the ground as the students were running to video a fight. These are the words that I've heard echoed over and over. Nothing is done. I sit here and I listen to these school committee meetings.
I mean, this is East Side High. I mean, this is Lean on Me. This is Joe Clark. This is what's going on. I mean, this is I swear, if you just wrote the movie in a modern day, I think the film was had to been 1988 or 89. Morgan Freeman, Lean on Me, played Joe Clark. This is a modern day Lean on Me. And they just got a new principal in there, I think about like a month ago. What has this guy done? He hasn't done anything. He's not doing it. Oh, I'm looking into it.
And I am happy that we can report that there's some great things going on, but that cannot overshadow or draw attention away from the ever-growing safety and security concerns that show no sign of wavering. Today is the second school committee meeting that was scheduled to discuss these issues. Clearly, our concerns were ignored in November. You all decided to focus on other stuff without resolving this one. There are still students sitting in the stairwells instead of classrooms, kicking on classroom doors, vandalizing every place they can, inciting and condoning fighting, assaulting each other for notoriety, smoking, vaping, and dealing drugs at Brockton High. Open your eyes. Stop beating around the bush and act immediately. We don't have time anymore, and ignoring our pleas is failing our students at BHS. In closing, one more thing. On January 16th, this school committee, 4 of you voted to not go into executive sessions. I'd like to remind you and all of you in the audience, the executive session was including a bargaining item for the safety and security at BHS. That fated decision 2 weeks.
They said in the article, Steve, that the police chief knows about it and he's going to be looking into it. This has been going on. Reports of this since last year. This behavior has been going on. And you can see the frustration now in these teachers. It's unbelievable. It's built up so much. People are going to start seriously getting hurt soon. And this is why I think these 4 community members spoke up, because they don't want the blood on their hands if something goes down. It's completely, it's a lawless campus. High school, it's lawless. It's crazy.
Weeks ago, you continue to ignore our pleas. You could care less. All you're worried about is what's going on with who's who and who's going to be vice chair.
It usually does.
Stop pointing fingers and put aside your personal differences. It's time to do your job. Put policies in place, stand firm behind those policies, and support all staff at Brockton High. Enough is enough.
Kimberly Gibson, BEA President, please. Ms. Gibson.
Good evening. I stand before you as I did on November 14th to address the safety concerns at Brockton High School. As you know, last week a student was taken by ambulance due to a fight in the cafeteria. In addition to that incident, we had 2 other serious and unacceptable incidents involving students going into classrooms with the purpose of finding a specific student to assault. During other incidents this school year, BEA members have been injured breaking up fights between students. Students cutting classes, wandering the building is still a huge growing issue that has not been addressed properly. Having no consequences for this and other unacceptable behavior is part of the overall issue. On November 14th, I talked about the failed cell phone policy that has yet to be enforced or fully implemented. How can you institute a policy and not enforce it?
No, and that's a lot of things now too, is that a lot of this activity now kicks up because they have the power to have one of these in their hands during school hours. I mean, if it was me, phones are away. Collect their phone. I don't know. Figure something out. School phones are not going to be allowed in school or on the premises during school times. We give way too much leniency in the classroom now. People are there to learn. This is a huge distraction. Just think about the distraction this has in your life. You know, and I understand it's a tool that we need. It's something that we need in our life. But there's got to be a time where we stop putting this down and start worrying about our education in our schools and getting these out of the hands of students for what? What is it? 6 hours they go to school now? Just for 6 hours to put this down. And maybe, I don't know, allow them to use it at lunch or whatever. Give them a little bit of that leeway. You know, it's something that I use at work. I'm under my tactic. I'm a supervisor at work. I don't want your phone out. But I reward the people that I work with that if there's a little bit of downtime, allow them to take their phone out for a social media break, 5 or 10 minutes, and put it away. I don't know if that's the solution. Maybe it just only works in my environment. But get this out of their hands. Collect their phone or whatever it is. I understand there's going to be a few or quite a few. They're going to find a way. But at least you can start trying to curb it. And she's talking about that, the failed cell phone policy. 6 hours, 7 hours, I don't know. I haven't been in high school in forever.
That's not a policy. It's just words on a page that mean nothing. And your failure to enforce the policy, undermining all staff at Brockton High School and trying to regain order and accountability. The cell phones are creating a plethora of issues. Students are posting lucrative videos recorded during the school day,
Are
showcasing
you a
violent and
teacher in
disturbing behavior
Brockton,
without
Molly?
any concern for consequences, since there aren't any. They include fighting, playing ding-dong ditch, by kicking closed classroom doors, interrupting the learning in those classrooms, hanging out in the stairwells, some cases vaping marijuana, openly harassing staff and students walking by, trying to incite others to do the same. Those are just to name a few.
Are you
Now,
having
bickering about the vice chair
Are you
position.
having problems like this in your schools? Is that why you're asking to speak up?
I hear from my members all the time what a waste of time this is, and taking
I'd
precedent.
really like to hear from people from Brockton that are in these schools. But if you have something to add to the conversation, maybe is this going on in your school? What are the politics behind it? Sure. If you want to speak, I can let you call in. Let's see. I'll give you the business line. If you want to call in and let me know, is this going on in your school? 774-855-9400, Molly. I'll open up the phone for a minute. I'll give you 5 or 10 minutes if you want to speak on it. But I really want people to hear what's going on in Brockton. It's very important.
Over your job as school committee. As it is, you don't even have a policy subcommittee meeting scheduled for 2 weeks. You are failing our students in our community by engaging in personal vendettas on a public stage, which is the last thing Brockton Public Schools needs. You will hear from high school teachers tonight who have felt unheard and unsupported. They continue to show up to work in an environment that is mentally and physically draining. Would you go to work to be verbally abused every day? Would you sit by while a colleague gets pushed by a student? Would you want to worry about being attacked in your own classroom? Because that's where we are now. Or be that teacher who felt helpless when she could not protect that child. You do not have enough bodies at your high school to cover every stairwell. This is a budgetary issue. You need to develop a strategic plan to target behaviors with enforceable documented consequences meant to deter the behavior from continuing. Why not? I'll keep doing it. Nothing happens to me. Teachers have reported individual students with over 80 class cuts already. What is being done? Last year, drastic measures were taken to curtail negative student behavior that impacted the entire student body. We're right back where we were. This is not just a high school problem, it's a city problem. The FY23 budget deficit is overshadowing everything. We still have many concerns about FY24 and worry about FY25. I am asking you on behalf of all BEA members at the high school to listen to their stories that the BEA members are going to bring forward to you tonight. This is their reality, and they and Brockton High School students are facing every day. As a Brockton High graduate and the BEA president, it frustrates and disheartens me to hear these stories and to hear that my members feel like nothing is being done to address the issues. I want you to know that the BEA stands ready to work with Dr. Cobbs, Principal McCaskill, to fix these issues and all of you to get the high school back to where it once was and still can be.
Your time is
One
up.
of the best high schools in the entire country. But you won't get there without your help. Thank you.
Thank you. The next person is Dee Jones, please.
Good evening to everyone in their respective positions. My name is Dee Jones, and I'm an educator within the Brockton Public School System.
Brittany, thanks for the 5.
Today, I'm coming before you as a parent of a student of East Middle School. On Friday, December 1st, 2023, my son experienced something he should have never had to experience.
Try now, Molly.
From a trusted adult at his school. A teacher came into his classroom and used the N-word, not once, but twice. I censored it for you today on purpose. Unfortunately, my child and his classmates, they didn't get the same respect that I'm giving you today, and their children. Her specific words directed to the substitute in the room first were, I took a phone from one of your students because they were using it in the hallway, and they called me the N-word, again censored. A student from the class said, please don't use that word because it's offensive. She then approached the student in her face and said, and I quote, maybe you need to be offended. Then she turned to the class and directed her next comment to a class of 12 to 15 students by saying, do I look like an N to you? Censored. I refuse to believe that in this day and age, in a culturally diverse community such as this one, that a teacher is allowed to throw out a racial slur and our only consequence was a 2-month paid vacation. Imagine my surprise when I found out that not only was she not fired, but she's allowed to come back to her same position. I came to this meeting today to have my voice heard and to get some answers, since Dr. Cobb has refused to accept my phone calls. I think his words were something like, I won't speak to her because it's a personal matter. Well, as a Black male, why doesn't this offend you the way it's offended?
Molly, if that doesn't work, I can drop a link for you. You can come up. If you don't want to turn your camera on, that's fine. You can just use your voice. But it should work now.
Offended me. Why aren't you just as angry and disappointed as I am? What ethical practices does our district have in place when
Now,
something
again,
like
all
this
this
happens?
behavior starts
Because
at
right now,
at
the
home.
only steps is a paid vacation. Why is she here? Why are our students' feelings not being validated? What were her consequences? Shame on the district, and most importantly, shame on anyone who played a role in making this decision. Lastly, I want to finish by saying thank you for taking the time and emphasize that our students deserve better than how this was handled.
Here you go, Molly.
I will always be my child's biggest advocate.
Jump on
But
that link.
today, I come before you to stand in the gap for all the children that were violated that day. I'm here on their behalf because they matter to me. What needs to happen before they matter to you?
For anybody that's coming in, we're watching a Brockton special school committee meeting back from January 31st, 2024, speaking, letting the community speak in regards to all the violence that's happening at Brockton High School. I wanted to play through some of this today so everybody could get a perspective of what's going on in that community and get a perspective of what the leaders want done in that community, and what the leaders at the top are failing to do. We just got the news press conference yesterday that 4 committee meetings, 4 out of the 7 have stepped forward to call and request the National Guard to police Brockton High School. This is how bad this is. And keep in mind, people, this is not just locally happening here in Massachusetts. This is happening all across our nation. You know, this is a failed education system for our children, and we need to spend more time and money in those areas and stop worrying about so much. Filtering what? $95 billion over to Ukraine. $95 billion right now is going overseas, probably lining the pockets of very corrupt politicians and oligarchs and everything over there, where we could be using that money here, tighten our education system, to give security in our schools, to help our veterans, to build homes for the homeless, to feed the homeless, to educate the homeless, to get people back to work in our communities, to build community rec centers, to put people in the sense of community, to bring people together. We don't do that. Those are the things that always go by the wayside. And that's why problems like this happen. That's why problems like this happen in our communities. We spend way too much money on war, and we don't spend enough money here helping everybody.
Lydia Bloodsworth, please. Lydia Bloodsworth.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Lydia Bloodsworth, and I am a senior at Brockton High. My biggest concern as a senior should be my plans after graduation, not how my 2 younger sisters in the school system will be affected by the lack of direction of the Brockton Public Schools. We are all here because we're concerned specifically about safety at Brockton.
And, you know, someone was just making a comment about race baiting. You're seeing all walks of life and background stand up and speaking today. So don't even go there. It's all walks of life, age, creed, sex, whatever it is, race. They're all standing up and speaking. They don't want it in the community. They want to be able to go there to school and to educate, be safe, and those students want to be safe.
Brockton High School, and we should be. There are fights practically every day. Students and teachers are suffering bodily harm, which I included in an email to every member of the school committee in late October after witnessing blood being mopped up in the Azure core.
Unreal.
The security guards who are supposed to be monitoring the hallways lack training and professional standards. While they're aware of problems like students skipping class and smoking, only a few do anything about it. I watch a number of the security guards turn down the volume on their walkies while they socialize with students during the day, often with headphones on or phones in their hands. My teachers often have to step out of class at least twice during each period to stop teens without passes, etc. So how am I supposed to thrive in an environment where my teachers are doing the security guard's job while trying to teach me an AP course at the same time? I'm a student in the Green Building, which now shares its space with a completely different school. Since September, our deans and other buildings leaders have been dissolved and become, I believe they're called ambassadors of climate and culture. No student I know understands this hierarchy or who to turn to for help. Our building has no leadership. We were never informed who our leadership was, and most of us have had to search for a guidance counselor in another building. My new guidance counselor was swamped enough before Green students were added to her roster,
Brittany,
and she
thanks for
barely
the
knows
5.
me,
I
and I need her
appreciate it.
help for college. Oh, and I haven't had an adjustment
Thank you.
counselor since freshman year, at least not one that I was ever aware of or that reached out to me. So clearly, emotional well-being and mental health isn't much of a priority at VHS either. I will say, though, that the only place in the building I feel safe is the yellow library, the only library out of 4 in the building still standing, leaving 1 librarian for the entire school in 1 room that has a 30-person capacity. Most days, there are only 1 or 2 bathrooms available for each sex to use at VHS. That's 3,900 students and only about 4 bathrooms open a day. We were told that administration locks the bathrooms to ensure our safety and cut down on vaping. All that has done is bring vaping into the open in the hallways, stairwells, between lockers that haven't already been torn down, and made it really uncomfortable, if not unsanitary, for the rest of us. During January 16th meeting, it was said that VHS's cafeterias were practically empty and that the number of teachers absent was less than, I believe, 4. Any student or VHS faculty member could tell you this is nowhere near true, as every day we all receive an email with a list of absent teachers who do or do not have substitutes. After going through just about every email between September and December, there were an average of 20 teachers absent without a substitute per day, and in January, that number is still 10 or more, meaning that with DESE's reported 15-to-1 student-teacher ratio in 2023, that is still at least 150 kids in cafeterias every day at any given time, not including those kids that skip class, are already in a study, etc. And I'm confident that that ratio has changed since pink and blue slips were handed out. When I began writing this on the 24th, I got a pass to go to the bathroom and instead went to each cafeteria period 1 without being stopped for wandering once.
I'm sorry, your time is up.
Thank you.
She's mad. She's gonna let her keep talking. She's a student. She's a student. Should have been allowed to continue and finish her point.
A Larry American, please. A Larry American. Good evening.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming out for us and supporting us at Brockton High. We really, truly, from the heart, appreciate it. 2 immediate to-dos on your list. Please give teachers back their keys. They're having sex and doing drugs and cutting class in empty classrooms. And we can't lock our own classrooms. They're stealing laptops.
Unbelievable.
Okay? And they are vandalizing. I've had colleagues have all their family pictures thrown all around the ground.
And real quick, I just want to pause this. I just dropped my email. If there's any teacher or anybody that works at Brockton High and they would love to come on and use my platform to speak out, please reach out to me at letstalklivepodcast@gmail.com. I'd love to get in touch with at least one of the 4 committee members that have spoken up and get them on the show here to speak about what's going on Brockton High, and what they feel is the necessary solution once this gets under control.
Ground smashed up and totally destroyed. We need our keys back now. Like, you could do that tonight for us. So you want a to-do? There's a to-do.
You think they
The
gotta
other
get their
thing
keys
is,
back?
there are plenty of adjunct staff. Have them sub for us and take 30 kids out of circulation, especially during testing. Okay, we just got through access testing where it looked like South Station at rush hour in the hallways the entire day. Okay, so there's another concrete suggestion, and now I'm going to just give you a little taste of how it feels. What if I asked you to balance 2 tall stacks of cups and saucers in each hand with boiling hot tea in each cup? I am sure that if I taught you and you focused and practiced over time, you would be able to do this with some level of accomplishment. However, if I put you on a ship that was in the North Atlantic in the middle of a chaotic storm, even with concentration and effort, you would spill the water, break the dishes, and end up burning yourself and others. There are 3,000 students along with your building staff, and that's not just teachers, that's the cafeteria workers, that's everybody I am
Brittany,
including
thanks for
here.
the 5. I
That are
appreciate
coming
it.
in each day and attempting to balance those stacks of cups intently. BHS is that ship. The 300 to 700 are the source of all of our turbulence. They are creating waves and the climate that we are experiencing. There is not one person, not one in that building who is not adversely affected every single day by the utter chaos that it has become at Brockton High School's in-building experience. Teaching and learning on a stormy ocean liner is not
Isn't that
possible
passion?
because nobody has a sense of security or safety at their foundation. We need a calm sea for everyone to do business of education. We are a school after all. Thank you.
Mark
They're leaving. They
Richardson,
don't want to
please.
be there.
Mark
They're calling in
Richardson.
sick. They're calling in sick out of fear of being hurt. They don't even want to be there anymore. I can't believe they even have teachers there anymore.
Good
3
evening.
minutes. That's all they get.
My name is Mark Richardson, and I've been a proud Brockton public school teacher since 1995. I am currently in my 28th year of teaching kids at Brockton. In my first year, I was a long-term substitute teacher at West Middle School. One of my teachers, cluster teachers that year, was retiring, and he told me whatever I did, I should make sure I, quote, get out of Brockton, unquote. For the past 28 years, I've told that story to colleagues, parents, and students, but the punchline has always been that I've been grateful to not have taken his advice. I tell my students all the time, you want an education in part to get a job that never feels.
Can you all do me a favor? I got about 225 people watching right now. We're only at 95 likes. Let's just pause really quick, okay? Take 5 seconds, go down, smash the upvote button. That'll help get this stream out into the algorithm. I'd love to get to 200 likes today. It would be great. Just take a moment, smash that like button. Let's get this out into the algorithm. It's super, super important because again, this is not only happening here in Brockton, Massachusetts. This is happening in your community too. And people need to hear more about these situations that are going on so they don't have fear of stepping up and speaking up in their community, because this could be happening to your children. This could be happening to your schools. So let's keep getting this information out there. Smash that like button. I would appreciate it. All right, let's keep playing through.
Feels like you're going to work. For 28 years, that's been true for me. I have loved my job at North Middle for 22 years and BHS for the past 6. My students have always been one of the best parts of my life. Therefore, what I'm about to say gives me no pleasure. We have a major crisis at the high school. And I think, first of all, we must have policies with clear consequences that are enforceable. This is currently not the case. In particular, we need a cell phone policy. What we have now is rampant cell phone usage that serves no academic purpose whatsoever. Cell phones are responsible for much of the chaos at the high school. Unless a student is in a high academic level course, they want little to do little except to be on their phone during class. In addition, as soon as there's a fight, instead of helping, students impede adults' ability to break it up by taking out their phones, recording the fight, sending it all over the buildings. They also use their phones to text information about upcoming fights, spread rumors about others, and engage in bullying and harassing behavior. If you take action on anything you hear tonight, please ban the use of cell phones at Brockton High School for the students. My second point is more general in nature. My colleagues and I strongly feel that the level of disrespect from students at the high school is an all-time high. Just today, when I told a student he was not a Yellow House student and therefore could not be in the cafeteria, he screamed at me, "Who are you to tell me what to do?" This was a 14-year-old
You're welcome,
freshman,
Molly. Thank you for being
followed by a
teacher.
stream of profanity that I obviously will not repeat here.
And if you want to come on and speak about what some of these things that are going on, and you want to talk about, what's going on in your school, your community, reach out to me. Let's talk live podcast at gmail.com. I'll have you come on and speak. We'd love to have you on and let us know. Don't be afraid to speak up because it needs change.
The sad thing is this happens every day at the high school. Who among you wants to be subjected to that kind of verbal abuse on a daily basis. In addition, many of us, myself included, put our safety on the line each day.
Because the issue is, as the phone is a distraction. A phone is the ultimate distraction. So let me put a phone in you. Let me let you be a 15-year-old kid. I'm going to throw a phone in your hand, and you're going to sit in with a class of 30 or 40, and you have a teacher at the front of the class. Now you have access to that phone in your hand. Okay. What are you going to pay attention to? Who are you going to pay attention to? Are you going to pay attention to the phone, or are you going to pay attention to the teacher at the front of the class? I can almost guess, if you took a questionnaire on that, what are you more apt to do? If you asked, let's see, age 12 to what people graduate, 18 years old, 12 to 18. If you have, let's ask the question, if you have a phone in your hand and you're in class, are you more apt to use that phone when a teacher is speaking, or are you going to put your phone down and listen? I almost guarantee you 95% of the kids that take that survey question would probably say, I'd rather play with my phone. I almost guarantee it. I'd rather play with my phone. Major distraction. And then what it's doing is encouraging behavior for kids to go out, like you're hearing this gentleman talk about, to go out and film the fights and post them. You heard that one lady that got trampled by a crowd that was running to a fight so they could get it on Snapchat, Twitter, or whatever it may be. Listen, I don't want to sound like a boomer. I just want kids to be safe. I want teachers to be safe. I want this community to be safe. And obviously the people at the top, the people that are in those positions to do that, are not doing their job. Clearly not doing their job.
Hey, when breaking up fights. We do this because we believe in protecting our students. But now we worry that we could be subject to legal action by doing so. No teacher I know wants to watch a child get beaten up, so we get involved. But we need to know that someone has our backs when we do so.
Molly, thank you so much for
We've
the
been
super
told that
sticker.
it's
I
about
appreciate
300
it.
to 400 students who are disrupting Brockton High School. Please find a safe alternative for them where they can get the help they need so that we can continue to educate the 3,000 plus who come to Brockton High for that purpose. If you act on these issues, I can be, in a few years, the retiring teacher who can say to teachers just starting out, stay in Brockton. It's a good place to teach. Thank you.
Nora Acevedo, please. Nora Acevedo, please.
Good evening, school committee members, colleagues, Dr. Cobbs, students, and families. My name is Nora Acevedo. I am an ESL teacher at Brockton High. I have been a teacher at the high school for almost 20 years. I would like to read some of my students' letters today. My ELL students wrote about how they felt during the days they were testing for the access test. There are some edits for clarity and anonymity. And I quote, I did not like all the time I spent in the cafeteria with nothing to do. The best thing that the school could have done was canceling all classes for everyone who was not testing and only have people who were testing attend school. Students should not have to wake up in the dawn of the day to go to school and do nothing for 4 periods straight. Another student said, during the testing time, it was difficult for me to go to the bathroom. It is always locked, or we need a pass. You can't go upstairs because the bathrooms are closed. When I don't have a class and go to the cafeteria, it is very hard to study or learn something with all the noise. Or sometimes the hallways stink due to the stink bombs. There are many students in the cafeteria and we didn't even have a seat. Another student said, I thought they were going to let us go home. Instead, we were in the cafeteria for more than 4 hours doing nothing. I wanted to go to class because I don't like spending time in the cafeteria because other people talk a lot and joke, and I couldn't concentrate. I'd rather be at home than stay at school doing nothing. Or we could go into school later in the day just to attend the remaining classes. Another student said, I didn't like that they put us doing the access test on the last week of the term too. We had a lot of work to do in those 2 days, but we stayed in the cafeteria without any orientation from our teachers. This thing was not organized.
Brittany, thank you for
Lastly,
the 5.
it was a bad feeling ever. They were supposed to call the houses to let parents know about the test, and should have had more teachers to stay with the students in the class. They didn't call my house to let my parents know about the test, end quote. Thank you.
Liz Corbett, please.
Good evening, members of the school committee and community members. My name is Liz Corbett, and I've had the opportunity to teach ESL at Brockton High School since 2014. I'm here to speak tonight about the state of the school of the remaining 3,000 students who want to do the right thing. Brockton High.
They're saying their guesstimation is about 1,000 students. So there's it'll be like 1,300, 4,300 students that go to that school under an estimate. This teacher is saying about 1,300 of them don't want to be there. That's literally a third. That's a crazy amount. A third of the students that are disruptive and don't want to be there. That is insane. That's 1,300 students that are causing a problem in Brockton High. That's insane. That is an insane amount of people. You know, just think about it. We have about 212 people watching right now. If I was in a small room and you had 212 people, you know, you had a hall, 212 people. Think about what it would be to have 212 people standing in a hall right now. Now, figure what 1,300 students would look like. That's a small auditorium. That's insane. That is insane.
Has posters all over the school building which reference the values of rigor, relationships, and relevance. What is the relevance of relationships on academic rigor? A 2009 study from the Journal of Effective Schools found that school safety is a precursor for student achievement. There will be no 90% in 5 years without increased safety at Brockton High School. This same study referred to research done as early as 1999, which found schools with higher 8th grade math and reading scores have less school violence. How can we build these relationships with class sizes as high as 60 in the Brockton High School bilingual department? Class sizes continue to grow as the year progresses, with more students arriving at Brockton High every week. DESE states the student-teacher ratio of Brockton High is 15 to 1.
Wow.
My smallest class size is 25.
Wow.
DESE counts our school enrollment at 3,586 students. We had well over 1,000 students take the annual test for English language learners, access test, at Brockton High last week. DESE reports that 38% of grade 9 English language learners passed all their classes. That means that 62% of English language learners, grade 9 English language learners, failed at least one course. We as teachers cannot build the relationships that create rigor with continually increasing class sizes. As one teacher put it, the threshold for unacceptable behavior gets higher with more students. I think back to the words of my mentor. Catch them being good.
Thank you, Lisa. Appreciate it.
I do my very best to focus on the good every day at Brockton High. This is not enough. A 2017 study from School Psychology Review found that perceptions of safety were also significantly related to teacher burnout. For BHS, this will mean more students in the cafeteria, class after class, creating new safety concerns yet again. In closing, I offer the suggestion from this 2017 study. Schools need to regularly assess staff perceptions of safety and identify ways to create environments where neither students nor staff worry about their physical or emotional safety and security. Thank you.
That's good.
Joe Campbell, please. Joe Campbell.
Chair Sullivan, school committee members, acting superintendent Dr. Cobbs, Brockton Public Schools administrators, staff, our local CBA units. and the parents and the public of the city of Brockton, thank you for this time. I'm here to speak tonight to the state legislation, so everybody can breathe, responsible for change. Public schools across this great Commonwealth, affluent or urban, understand the need to work to mitigate bad student behavior. However, current restrictive laws are causing so much harm that it has, is, and will continue impacting students that want to learn and staff that want to teach and those of us that want to support. Chapter 71, Section 37, H3/4, suspensions and progressive discipline, along with DESE's Regulation 222, Advisory on Student Discipline, projects an edict and practice that is antiquated and not applicable to all students, if applicable in any beneficial way whatsoever. Binding the hands of administration to do what's right by the students' populace that are here to learn only perpetuates a grave problem. An immediate call to action is necessary and warranted to make this change for our support staff, educators, and administration. State legislators, Commissioner Riley from DESE, move on this now to repair the significant damage these next years will experience. Move on this now so those in attendance today, here, tonight, can make a change immediately. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Yeah.
Morgan
If
Thatcher.
anybody knows any of these individuals that are speaking up at the committee, I'd love to get at least one of the four that have stepped forward to speak that are on that committee. If anybody knows any of them that are watching this, please let them know. My platform is open to them. Please let them know my platform is open to them. I would love to have them come on the show and speak about this. Like, what the hell is going on in Brockton? What the hell is going on in Brockton High? Why is this not getting under control? Who do they feel are the failed people in these positions? Obviously, the people at top are not doing their job. This is insane. And I just talked about it a couple of minutes ago. I mean, this is Lean on Me all over again. Joe Clark, Elizabeth, New Jersey. This is all over again. It's the same thing. But there's no discipline in these schools. These kids are getting hurt to the point that they're being airlifted. Hello, wake up. What, are you serious? And I can only imagine the lawsuits that are happening from that. And the one previous teacher was just saying that it's supposed to be a 15-to-1 ratio of teacher to student. Right now, it's like 1 to 60. Because she said every single week there's new students coming into school. And I saw the comment there. This is becoming a dumping ground, essentially, for bad students. And one teacher estimated that out of the 4,300 students that go there, that about 1,300 of them are not productive. Those are the ones that are causing the trouble. That's a third. That's 25% of what's going on. That's insane. It's an insane amount of students. It's out of control.
Morgan Thatcher, please.
And listen, this is, all this whole thing when people say, oh, it's a race thing. It has nothing to do with that. This is all people from all walks of life. It's out of control. It's out of control. And it's not only just happening here in Brockton High. If you think that it is, you're insane. This is happening all across our country. We sit here and say, oh, we get tough on education, safety, education. It's not enough. It's not enough. And we continue to pour billions and billions and billions of dollars into that war over in Ukraine. $95 billion already has gone over there. Can you imagine what just $1 billion would do for our education system? Can you imagine what just $1 billion could do to get homeless veterans off the street? Can you imagine what $1 billion could do to get work programs in place for people, to get people off drugs, to help build community and community spirit in these dilapidated communities that are ran over by these political people that just run in forever, and they're in power for 40 years and don't really give a shit about what's going on in their communities. All they care about at the end of the day is the fucking zeros that are on their paycheck. And that's where you have to wake up. as people that vote these people in continuously over and over and over again. It's not getting done. It's not happening. Wake up, people. They're tricking you. They're fooling you. They go to every campaign. Oh, I'm going to change. Believe me. Trust me. It's bullshit. 5 years, 10 years, 30, whatever. They're there forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Nothing gets changed. It's the definition of insanity. Over and over and over again. That's why we embrace people. For my Karen Reed supporters, for my Canton supporters, people like Rita Lombardi that's going to stand up in Canton and say things need to change. Select me on the board. I will get it done. We need more people like Rita.
Evening.
Good evening. My name is Morgan Thatcher. I'm a proud alumni, current teacher, and former floor teacher at BHS, and a parent of a BPS student. The word that comes to mind when I think of Brockton High, our school system, school committee, and our city is distrust. I show up every day, do my job, try to help people the best I can, and build relationships with my students, even those not in my class. I met daily with behavior that is uncalled for and inappropriate, but that's not why I'm here. Because everyone who works in the building knows what it's like to walk the hallways, and you have been told countless times and you don't listen. I'm here because we've told you, and you continue to come here and gaslight us and act if everything is great. We can't even trust you to communicate with us honestly. The information is either withheld completely or worse, we are lied to. We were told not to believe rumors, but the so-called rumors tell me more about what I'm walking into every day than the people I work for. I wouldn't need to rely on rumors if anyone in the district was transparent about the status of my safety. We are too busy covering things up in the district. That's how we got here. Everyone is just worried about themselves. So let me uncover a few things for you. Every morning, our students walk through metal detectors that only detect large weapons. So the 4-inch pocket knife I found last year in a girl's purse looking for a vape goes completely undetected. When I asked about the metal detectors, I was told they were too sensitive, so they had to turn them down. So short answer, you can shoot me. You can't shoot me, but stabbing me is fair game. We changed the software for our check-in in the last 2 years, so now we only use Infinite Campus. So when John Doe is suspended for fighting, but he decides to come into school anyways, he literally can walk in the door, scan his ID, and if the person who's doing check-in doesn't know John Doe, he walks in the building and roams free. By the way, he has unexcused absence for every period of the day, so he can just be in the hallway, probably assaulting somebody else.
Wow.
The school committee sat and spoke
Crazy.
about teacher absence without a sub and how drastically it's improved, and teachers are no longer absent. That's not true. We just have teachers subbing on their preps along with normal building subs. It is a hostile work environment, and people have to stay home for their mental health. On the day of the Abigail Adams Scholarship meetings, when school committee walked through the CAF, a member said, we only saw one class size in the cafeteria. TOS teachers were actually asked to close the partitions to create a facade that there weren't that many students in the cafeteria.
Wow.
I legit have a student who regularly attends the school committee meetings that looked at me in class and said he didn't want to come anymore because he said he's never seen a group of adults act so immaturely. Wow. We teachers show up every day, even though our safety is not guaranteed. We teach our classes, do our jobs, and try to maintain some sort of structure. Yet we're continuously met with lies, withheld information, or better yet, a group of out-of-touch administrators come in and tell the city that everything's great because they were in the room with 12 well-behaved AP students when teachers are being assaulted in the hallway. If you keep ignoring our cries for help, you're going to continue to lose teachers. You want us to be a team, you want us to help make it better, the least you can do is be honest, and maybe we can start trusting you again.
Good.
Heather Origi, please.
School Committee, Mayor, Superintendent, thank you for hearing me tonight. Thank you. My name's Heather Riggy. Hopefully I look a little familiar to you. I was here 2 months ago speaking about some of my concerns at the high school. This is my 5th year as a guidance counselor, my 12th year as a BPS employee, and I'm a proud 97 graduate of Brockton High School. As I mentioned,
Morgan
I was here
Freeman,
2 months
not
ago
Samuel
speaking
L.
to you about
Jackson.
my concerns. I'm here again because sadly,
Lean on me.
not much has changed. First, let me reiterate that my statement tonight is
1989.
mine and mine alone, and comes from my personal experience, not hearsay or rumor. We have a group, as I said before, of really hardworking administrators, but they were, again, given an impossible job that has been made more challenging by the school's changing leadership. I am very optimistic about our new principal, but I'm also seasoned enough in this district to know that it takes more than just one principal to solve the problems we continue to face at Brockton High School. Last time I was here, this is what I shared with you in terms of my observations. Marijuana and vaping are a constant presence inside and outside the building. Dangerously high mental and emotional exhaustion of staff members from feeling unsafe, unheard, and unsupported. Large classrooms and counselor caseloads for a post that are just unrealistic for a post-pandemic reality. Many students that are disrespecting staff, not
That's
only
great.
using their words, but
It's a
also
great point. You know, and I led that off here in this episode today. That, and I have the note right here. Let's see. Let's not forget, this all starts at home. The communities and even the environment the children are brought up in. I got it right there on my notes. You're so right, Tyrone. 100% correct. And I led with that. You know, it starts at home. This behavior starts at home. You know, do you know where your child is right now? Probably not. Probably causing a bunch of trouble.
their
And I'm
physical
hoping that someone
presence
does
as an
bring this up.
individual or a group of students to intimidate us. Students wandering in the hallways, creating distractions, disrupting learning. Students refusing to stop when they're asked nicely, respectfully by an adult, and or just running away when you ask them to stop. Students cutting class, and then just really using the high school as a social opportunity more than a place of learning. There is no cell phone or
Exactly,
dress code
Benjamin.
enforcement. The bathrooms remain locked because it's too unsafe to keep them unlocked. Only a select few are open, and students must walk further away from their classroom to access them, thus leading to more time outside the classroom. There's no corrective action plan in place for attendance. There's no enforceable cell phone policy. And I could just repeat so much of what you've already heard. Yes, Brockton High has many wonderful students. It is for those students and the educators like me who love the high school but find it increasingly harder to remain there that I come to you again tonight with these same concerns. Safety at BHS starts with students being inside the classroom and held accountable to enforceable behavior policies. This cannot wait. This needs to be urgent in your minds. We have to make changes, and we have to make them now. I don't want to come back in 2 months and say the same thing again. Thank you.
2 months? Every 2 months they have this community. We'll be having this every fucking week. At least every
Cherry
2 weeks.
Mazzoli, please. Cherry Mazzoli.
And you got the mayor just sitting there kind of like very passive. We'll just get through the motions today. Let's get through the motions today.
I'd like to thank everyone for hearing me tonight. My name is Sherry Mazzoli. I'm an administrative assistant in the Red House at Brockton High School. This is my experience. I'm tired of the chaos at BHS. I'm tired of seeing students, friends, colleagues, and myself get hurt because of fights that occur daily. Some days, I'd actually say most days, there are multiple fights in the day. Many of the fights require nurses to be called to the scene or closest classroom or office to the location of the fight. A couple of weeks ago, I was caught up in the crowd trying to I was caught up in the crowd as I was trying to call for help in a fight. I was out in the hallway outside of my office on the second floor in red. I heard a commotion down the hallway. I stepped over so I could look to see where the fight was happening so that I could accurately call for help. The crowd came down the hall so quickly that I got swept up, not by the students fighting, but by the students that were
Oh, I read this in that article earlier.
rushing to watch and video the fight. I was pushed into a locker. I was then pushed into a wall and stepped on before my boss could see me and grab me and pull me out into a classroom. We are in chaos. We need help. I did go home that day after going to the nurse's office. It wasn't so much as for the physical trauma as the emotional trauma. I am now afraid to be in my office on the second floor.
Unreal.
I do not like being in the hallways. If I see a large group, if I see a rowdy crowd, I get very nervous and look for the nearest exit. Today, there was another fight. I heard the helpless.
And then you're in a, and then it sucks because these people are in a position, where are they going to go? This is their job. So they have to go. They have to go to get paid. But you're hearing now that it's so bad that teachers are using their sick time right now to call out because they're so afraid to go to school. They're so afraid to be in those classrooms, in those hallways to teach these students. And they're estimating is about 1,300 students that are not following the policies that are being rowdy. That's a lot of students. It's a lot of students out of 4,300.
In my boss's voice on the radio because he saw it happen. He was in red. He could see it through the windows. It happened to be in the stairway in yellow by the gym overpasses. He couldn't get there and couldn't get help there fast enough. Aside from the fights, let's talk about the security of our doors. Nobody is there watching them. Students let people in left and right. We can't control it.
This is East Side High. This is what this is. It's literally East Side High. If anybody has not watched the movie Lean on Me, check out the movie Lean on Me. Morgan Freeman, 1989. This is a real life. I mean, that happened in real life, but a modern day East Side High. I remember they had to chain the doors, and you had the big thing with the fire marshal. Obviously, that's not going to happen, but maybe they create a system where there's an access point to come in. You have to scan to get in, and the doors are always open to get out, but you have a monitor at that door. This is insane. This is the most fucking insane thing I've heard around here in Massachusetts. Well, not the most insane thing. I think Karen Reed case is the most insane thing I've heard. But this is crazy as far as like what's going on in our educational system. I feel bad for these people. I really do. And no one's doing shit about it. I mean, it's already up to Maura Healey, the governor. She's not doing anything. Oh, we know about it. We know about it. We know about it. Well, you're not doing anything. Clearly you're not. I mean, this committee now had a meeting yesterday, press conference to call in to request the National Guard. That's how bad this is. They don't feel safe. This is insane.
We are constantly. Can you check the camera
insane.
for this time? Can you check the camera at that time? See who's in the building. We never know. All of those people coming in are not going through security checks. We have no idea who they are or what they're bringing in. It is making the building even more unsafe than the fights. Unfortunately, staff now feels that it's only a matter of time before someone dies in our hallway.
Mm-hmm.
Something needs to be done.
Yeah, she's right.
Thank you.
Oh, I know, Patrick. You don't have to tell me, brother.
Cliff
I know.
Canavan, please. Cliff Canavan.
They just took away a community rec center. I think it was in Roxbury. They took it away, and these poor kids now are left to go out on the streets, probably get involved in crime, so we could bring people out of the illegal aliens, migrants. Sorry, the illegal migrants out of Logan Airport, so we have a place to shelter them. 400 people in that gymnasium now. It's unbelievable. And then Mayor Wu goes, oh, well, it's only going to go on until May. Fucking May. May? You've now pushed children out of a community rec center. You've now pushed the homeless that was going in there to get warm and participate in activities. You've pushed all those people out. It's unreal the shit that goes on in the state. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Oh, exactly, Patrick. What's going to happen in May? What's the plan then?
This is
This is the guy that got his
little
arm
bit strange.
broken. This poor guy got his arm broken, breaking up a fight.
For me to come up here and do this, but I felt a lot better as I looked around the room at all the fantastic colleagues I've worked with for the last 22 years. And as I look around at a lot of these colleagues, I realize how many of them have also taught their own children. And even in the school committee, I've had several school committee members' children in my classes, or I've coached them. Even some of our police officers that are here tonight, I've either coached
These are
with.
good people. These are people that care. These are people that really care about the school, love where they work, love the students that go there, but they want some order and some organization and some law. They want to feel safe when they go teach, and they want to educate these students of all backgrounds, races, creeds, whatever, religion, whatever it is. Their passion is teaching. They want to teach and help, and then they can feel proud when those students graduate and they go on to college and maybe become a CEO of some company or an athlete or whatever it is, and say, I taught that person. I helped them. That's all they want. Their passion is to teach, but they want safety, and they deserve safety, and everybody deserves safety.
Or I actually taught them when they were in my class. I was born and raised in Brockton on the east side. I graduated from Brockton High School in 1991. I've spent 22 years dedicating my life to this place. I've coached for 20 years. I spent 6 days a week at Brockton High School, almost the entire school year. And not just from 7:20 to 2:30, but from about 7 a.m. till about 6 p.m. every day during the week, plus all day on Saturdays. That's my level of dedication. And now I get nervous when I go to work. I get worried about my fellow colleagues getting injured. I had my friggin' arm broken last year. And I knew it was going to happen. I called for help. I called the police. We don't have a school dispatch police office number to call anymore. We don't have an administrative office that we can call that'll answer the phone most of the time during the day, but certainly not after 2:30. I was helpless, and I called the Brockton police to dispatch an officer over to where this was happening, and nobody came. So when the fight happened, and I finally got over there to break it up, there was a girl on the ground unconscious, getting kicked in the head repeatedly. So I took the aggressive girl and started to pull her aside. And then I got attacked from behind by a third person and had my arm broken. Even after my arm was broken, I still forced the rest of those kids to get out of that area. And then I made sure the other two kids that were involved in getting beat up were okay and had medical treatment before I then let the administrators know that my arm's broken. I got to go to the hospital now, because my focus was on those kids' safety. Where's the focus on ours? The day before this happened, I was in my office and I had a conversation with several of my colleagues talking about how horrific it has been and how one of these days and sometime soon, somebody's going to get seriously injured or, God forbid, killed.
He got seriously injured.
Little did I know that I was talking about myself.
Unreal.
Because less than 24 hours later, I had my arm broken, both bones. I did physical therapy over 75
I don't know who
hours,
Will
and then I
is.
still
Everybody
had to
keeps
have
calling me
corrective.
Will. I'm not Will. I'm not Will. I'm Brian. I don't know why everybody keeps calling me Will. My email address is there.
Surgery in September to fix it. I'm left-handed. It was my left arm. I am permanently disabled in my left hand for full range of motion because of this injury.
I'm sorry, your
Could have
time is
been
up.
avoided.
Yeah, let him talk.
You need to hear what we're saying. You need to take it to heart. We have one of the largest teacher shortages in, I think, probably recorded history at this point.
Wow.
If you don't fix things over the next several months, then in June, you're going to see a mass exodus of all of our young, very talented, and very dedicated teachers that are 5 years or less, because the grass is greener anywhere else right now. Thank you.
Yep, she's right. They don't want to be there anymore. And then what are you going to do?
Marty Ferroli, please. Marty Ferroli.
Well, this is what they do in Canton, too. You know that when Rita and Jen talk.
Need a shorter podium. Good evening, Dr. Cobbs, Mr. Mayor, Vice Chair, school committee members, fellow staff, visitors, students, Lydia, great job. I'm going to be very honest with you. I'm not really here for myself because as a guidance counselor at the high school, I'm insulated from a lot of what really happens there. But to see what the teachers go through and the students go through regularly.
Why, as a guidance counselor, you are isolated from what happens there? Isn't that what your job is, to give guidance? That doesn't make any sense to me. Maybe someone can explain that to me in the comments that might be familiar with the educational system. I had a guidance counselor through my junior high and high school. More in my junior high. I was a very troubled kid in junior high. I had a lot of attitude problems. And I used to go in, I used to have a program that I went through. It was called Ropes. It was a very, we had a bunch of, they called us the troubled kids, but they would put us together and we would go off to one of the local YMCAs for, I think it was either 1 or 2 periods a week. And we would do these communal things of bonding and building. And, it was called the Ropes course. And we would learn how to be communal and learn how to build a bond and a brothership and a sistership. It was girls and boys, all races, creeds, backgrounds. And it was a great program. And I learned a lot from it. And I'll be honest with you, after I graduated high school, oh God, this might have been 15 years ago. That doesn't make sense. Probably about 15 years ago. It was after I got out of high school, but this was junior high. About 15 years ago, I'm probably estimating the time, I went back and found the guidance counselor that took me through that program in junior high, and I thanked him. I sat down with him and said, thank you, because I was on an extremely bad course in junior high. And then thankfully, I met some really great people in high school, got into a band and got myself very straight through that, stayed away from, major drugs and alcohol and stuff like that. And I was in a good, in a good group of people. But I went back and actually thanked that guidance counselor. His name was Kovacevic. I just find it weird that you would not be in tune with what's going on as a guidance counselor.
Me to say something. The last time I was here was to recognize members of the new 560 Club, of which one of my kids is a member. Our 2 school-age boys have flourished in Brockton schools. We love the principals at the Kennedy, the Angelo, the teachers. They've had a wonderful, wonderful experience in Brockton schools. But a couple of years ago, my wife and I decided that once our kids reach middle school age, we are not sending them to Brockton schools. However, that needs to happen.
Thank you very much, Little.
My wife did tell me, please don't get fired tonight.
Maybe the role of a guidance counselor has changed now. I don't know. But I think it was a great resource back then. Maybe, I grew up in a fatherless home. I had a single mom that raised me. And when I needed that fatherly discipline, I didn't have that. So I used communal programs like that in school to guide me. I went to counseling when I was a young kid to help work through those issues. I still have daddy issues that I deal with. Still shit about my father that bothers me. He's not in my life, or barely in my life. And that still bothers me. It bothers me every single day. I won't get too deep on that, but you know, maybe the roles have changed. I don't know, you know, but I urge people, you know, get your kids, if they need a guidance counselor, you know, someone to give them someone to talk to, or a counselor. It's okay to do those things.
When I'm asked by people outside of Brockton, in Brockton, what's going on at Brockton High? Is it really as bad as they say, as we hear? And I say, no, it's much, much worse. The reason that it's so much worse is because a climate of disrespect, permissiveness, caving to pressure, and mixed.
You know, maybe that's why I do these things. Maybe that's why I sit here and try to speak up and stand up for people. You know, I never really had many people do that. And I think, you know, maybe some of this is not having dad around in the home, you know, to stand up and be that alpha male and stand up for people, and speak up, and not having any fear to say whatever I want to say. And that's why I have this platform, because I want to come on here and say things. If I can get something out there, if I can reach one person and make it a positive influence in their life to speak up and not be afraid, that's why I do this. It's why I have this platform and I do this. And that's why I hope all of you come here. Maybe this empowers you a little bit to say, hey, you know what? I'm sick of being beaten down. I'm sick of people telling me to shut up. I'm sick of people telling me to sit to the back of the room. Fuck you. I'm going to stand up for myself. I'm going to say things. I'm not afraid to say something. And a lot of people in here might not agree with what I'm doing, or a lot of people might not agree with the way that I approach things or approach ways, but maybe we can learn from that. You know, it's okay to stand up. And I think people have been shunned down probably in this school for a very long time. And that's why I went to the extreme measure where 4 of the people on that 7-people committee and stood up the other day and had that fucking press conference and said, look, it's out of control. People are going to die here. Let's get the National Guard in here and get things straight, because clearly you're not doing it.
Inconsistent messages has been allowed so long that it is the new normal at Brockton High School. It is the culture of BHS. So what does this new normal look like? You've heard a lot of it already. You've heard that students wander. Recently, you heard that it's a couple hundred kids, 100. It's not. That's very incorrect. It's hundreds and hundreds of students at any given moment of the day, every period of the day during class time. This was not dealt with correctly years ago. It's simply normal for students to do this at this point. When parents find out their child has been skipping classes, they ask, well, why am I just learning this? And the answer to that is we stopped putting them in for cuts in November. They got free reign to walk anywhere they want. Therefore, there's no real consequence to them skipping class. Students simply leave the building. There was nothing to stop them. If you park by Belmont Street near McDonald's, 5th period of each day, you'll see streams of students simply walking off campus out of the building as if they were seniors leaving at the last period of the day. They're not. They're freshmen, they're sophomores, they're juniors. Students and potentially non-students are let into the building regularly by other students. We are all, for intents and purposes, an open campus. Teachers, administration, staff are sworn at, shoved, met with a staggering level of disrespect that most people, I would hope, would not even show toward their worst enemy. Violence is commonplace. This violence between students often causes injury to staff, concussions, etc.
Jesus.
The tragedy is that this was avoidable. I'm going to have to skip ahead a little bit. You owe it to the students who deserve a safe education and a safe environment. You owe it to the staff. You owe it to people like Officer Vaughn, who should have been shown the benefit of the doubt. Other teachers who have been not shown the benefit of the doubt and put on leave.
I'm sorry, your time is up.
Let him
Thank
talk.
you.
Should have kept talking. Do that.
Sam Gordon, please.
Thank you, Benjamin. I appreciate that. It's why we do things like this, because we care. We care about human beings. We care about our communities. We care about those people that were pushed around. I was pushed around. I was a skinny kid through all my years. I got picked on a lot to the points that I would cry. And I'm not afraid to say that, because many of you probably were in those particular situations as well. And then it's funny because I run into the people that pick on me now and I'm bigger than them. And I always say, why don't you say shit to me now? But it's okay to stand up and have a voice. It's okay to do that. You have to. If you don't, then it will not change. If you don't get it out in your community or getting out there in some platform like this, it will not change. It's okay to stand up and speak up for yourself. Don't let people beat you down. You deserve it. It's your life.
Hello, you can hear me? Everyone good? Okay. My name is Samantha Gordon, proud graduate 07. It's important to note I grew up here. I don't scare easy. Okay. I teach students with disabilities in a substantially separate classroom. With the help of a para and a 128, I support students in every area of the building: the gym, the cafeteria, the hallways. 3 things happened to me just yesterday I need to tell you about. First, waiting for the male students outside the bathroom, there were 10 students skipping class, just right there. They began to push each other, run up and down the hallway. I asked them to go to class, completely ignored. I asked them to go anywhere else, nothing. So at this time, what am I supposed to do? Second, I'm the teacher of 11 students with disabilities. There are 14 substantially separate classrooms at the high school. We are supporting students with significant social, emotional, behavior, cognitive disabilities. These classrooms are overcrowded. We deal with different things in our classrooms, but these are the students with the most needs. Third, there was a fire alarm. It was rumored to be pulled. I don't know. My students, very technology driven, very schedule driven. So at the end of the day, they get 15 minutes on the computer. During the alarm, my student became very dysregulated and began hitting his head on the floor. I noticed 9 hits of his head to the floor. He was taken out by school police, seen by paramedics, treated by paramedics outside of the building. So now to the point I'm trying to make. Students don't have consequences for their behavior. They wander, they skip class, they hang out in bathrooms, ignore teachers. Teachers are afraid to intervene. They are verbally assaulted, they are injured, they are put on administrative leave and under investigation because students have more rights than teachers do at this moment in time. Teachers do not want to be injured and lose their licenses and livelihood. This is a job and we do not deserve this treatment. Bathrooms, they're locked and overcrowded or dangerous. It's just a terrible situation. Years ago, we had a life skills bathroom. Unfortunately, it was taken away. Now that's 14 classes that don't have that. We have 2 single stall gender neutral bathrooms that are unlocked. However, the lines get long because every student wants to use this bathroom because it is safe. 1 stall.
Yeah.
Now, because of the nature of the bathroom, I had to remove independence from my students because they cannot go into the bathroom safely by themselves. I now have to walk them. They have to be with a staff escorted. Additionally, the special education department was restructured this year district-wide. We do not have a building-based special education administrator. The administration is new at the high school. They are not experienced working with our students. So administration has limited understanding of what we do. Teachers have limited understanding of where we're supposed to go. However, I do invite any of you to come to my classroom at the high school. We are open door policy. If you want to come in, please do. So I end with this. The administration is trying. We are all trying, but we are not okay. So what are you going to do now? What is being done for student safety? What is being done for teacher safety? What is being done for the students with special needs? Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge safety concern for special needs students.
Mara
too.
Tavares, please. Mara Tavares, please.
So we'll play through a little bit more of this. This is something that I want to continue on. I'm going to continue the story. We're only about an hour. I want to keep playing this hearing, and I also want to play the next hearing as well. I want people to understand what is going on in Brockton. I want people to understand that the people that are in the top of the organization on these committees are not doing their job. The mayor has failed. They have a brand new principal that is in place. In my opinion, he has failed already. The Brockton police has failed. The systems that they have in place and all the rules that are in place for that school for student safety and teacher safety have failed. The governor of Massachusetts, Maura Healey, knows about this situation. She has failed. I'm going to continue to keep calling this out until it is fixed. And please, if you are a teacher or someone that is on that committee in the Brockton High School, reach out to me. Let's Talk Live podcast at gmail.com. I will give you a platform here to speak out. Even if you need me to come to you, I will come to you. Or you can do it in this digital setting. I want my audience to hear about this. We will get change in Brockton High. And don't think, if you're not from Massachusetts and you're not from Brockton, this is not only happening there. It is happening around our country right now. Our education systems are failing. We are too well concentrated in this country right now, worrying about foreign countries and foreign wars. We're not using that appropriate money in the appropriate places in our country. The failure is at the top. The Biden administration is failing us. And I will leave that up to you to vote when we have a vote in November. But keep in mind, it's all local. You need to know the people that are running your communities. If this has gone on forever, time to wake up, time to make a change. Maybe we should go with that person over here, not the one that's been doing it for 20 years with no change. At the end of the day, what happens is these people don't care about you. They care about the zeros in their paycheck. You can make a difference. You can vote. You have the power. You have the power to speak up in your community. You can do this. We'll play a little bit more of this, and I will come back to this. I will come back and play out the rest of this, and I will play the other committee board meeting, the most recent one. This one was just a couple of weeks ago. But you're going to hear a lot of the same conversation that's been going on. All right, let's keep playing through. I appreciate everybody being here today. Thank you. This is very, very important.
Hi, Amara. I go by Shamara, really, but that's just my little nickname. Anyways, I'm a senior at Brockton High, and I want to address the
My
concerns
name is
about
not
BHS.
Will. I don't know.
It
Everybody
seems our
keeps
voices
calling me
aren't heard
Will.
enough, and
I am
issues
not
raised by
Will.
teachers and students
My
in
name is
meetings are
Brian.
often overlooked. I, as a student, would love to see action instead of words.
Wrong
Clear
channel.
communication and a plan for action must be communicated for everyone to have consistent follow-up and then stick with it. We are the future and what other people look forward to. We need to be pointed in the right direction, and we deserve the right support system. I know great teachers that have helped me tremendously. Every student needs support and guidance of trusted teachers that care, and I appreciate the ones that do and try their best every day. I see you, and I appreciate you. I know. Sorry. We must strengthen the support system and distinguish those that are only there to disrupt and impede teaching, learning, and growth. Those that are there to hurt others and keep me and others from getting a good education need to be removed. I'm hoping that we change this and improve as a community to get BHS to be better and elevate student standards and teaching standards. Either take action or watch the rest of BHS fall.
Julie Fairfield.
Hi, I'm a teacher at Brockton High School. I teach in yellow, I teach math. It's hard to follow all these because they're so eloquent and they've stated things so well.
This teacher has been very visually upset at these meetings, and I think this might be the one she cried at, or it was just the previous one that made the news that she cried. She's crying
So I kind
now.
of figured I'd tell you my personal experience. I'm sorry. I suffer from PTSD and anxiety. And this, sadly, this year has killed me. I have this last month been one of those teachers that has called out probably twice a week because I can't do it. And I work so hard because I want to be there for my kids. But I'm so afraid of them seeing my trauma. I don't I'm really worried about them. They need me there. They need me. They know I've had trauma in my life. I'm very
poor
honest
lady.
with them because I want them to know that they have a safe place to go, that they have a safe person to talk to. And they get so upset when I'm not there because they know I must be struggling. I love this school and I love my kids, and I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave them. And I don't know what to do. I don't know what you can do. I don't know what the administration can do. But it just breaks my heart that I just don't even know who to call anymore for anything. I don't know who to contact. There seems to be no structure. And now I've been told that I'm going to be doing a directed academics with 70 students by myself.
Wow.
I don't know how I'm going to do that. That scares the hell out of me. I told my husband at the beginning of the year, I never, ever, ever in 21 years was afraid that no one's going to hit. My kids love me. I feed them, so it's like I bake for them, so but I said this year, it's not a matter of it. I feel like it's a matter of when. Kids in the hallway, I don't even like to leave my classroom anymore. I usually will wait until after school to go to the bathroom because a 14-year-old telling me to mind my own effing business. I treat people with respect. I don't ask them to respect me because I'm a teacher. I don't ask them to respect me because I'm an elder. I ask them to respect me because that's how I treat them. And I want us to go back. I don't know what to do. I don't know what you can do. But we've got to get together and do something. Because I love this school and I don't want to go anywhere, but I might have to for my own mental health. Thank you.
I think her name is Julie Fairchild. What's her last name? I know her first name was Julie Fairchild, I think.
Take a break, Mr. Gomes. Let's just take a 2-minute break at this time.
Okay, so they're going to take a 2-minute break here. I'm going to pick up and play the rest of this later on. So we'll split this into 2 streams. And then I do want to play the most recent meeting as well. We can go through that. What a great teacher. I know. Her first name was Julie, and I think it's Fairchild. I think her last name. I could be wrong on her last name. But it's just, it's truly horrifying what's happening in Brockton. Shit needs to change. Shit needs to change. And I will continue on this. So if I don't come back tonight, I will pick another time here in this week. And it was funny because I was going to take the week off. I literally was going to take a week off and not make any content. But I was actually driving over to the gym today. I was listening to one of the local Providence stations and heard about this and heard how crazy it's getting, and then started seeing all the stuff coming up in my news feed. And I'm like, this is insane. I need to start talking about this. I want to try to get some of these people on and have them talk about what's going on in Brockton High and, what's going on and what's not going on. We need to know. We need to know. We need to educate the country. We need to let everybody know here in the local area it is a failing system and it's not working, and it needs to be fixed quickly because people are going to get hurt. People are going to get hurt. People are going to seriously get hurt, and it's not cool. And people have already been seriously hurt over there. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to go off air now. Look for the other stream. If you're interested in hearing more about this, we'll continue to play through this and we can all chat about it. And then I do definitely want to do the most recent hearing as well. And then if anything comes up here in the next 24 hours, couple of days, obviously we'll bring that up and talk about it. And I'm going to do some researching around and see if I can get some of the school committee meetings, if they want to come on and actually talk, the people that are speaking up and standing up about what's going on in Brockton High. I'd love that. And if any of you are watching, don't be afraid to reach out to me. Let's Talk Live Podcast at gmail.com. My name is Brian. You can reach out to me there, and I would love to continue on this. So maybe tonight I'll come back. could be a possibility, or if not, we'll pick the story back up tomorrow. We'll play through the rest of this hearing and go into some of the other hearings this week as well too. For my Karen Reed supporters, obviously we have some very interesting times coming up. Friday is supposed to be Aiden is going to be released. He will be back. Aiden Carney, Turtle Boy, will be back. I believe he has a live scheduled for that Saturday night. You're going to want to watch that. And then Karen and I believe Aiden have court on the same date in the Superior Court. Aiden, I believe, is at 9 o'clock on that Monday, the 26th. And Karen has her hearing at 2 p.m. on the 26th as well. I will be there on the 26th. So just to put that all out there for everybody. So a lot of things going on here in the Karen Reed world, Karen Reed verse in the next couple of days. But obviously I want to keep pounding on this story as well too, because we need to get this out there. So again, I possibly could be back tonight for a night show. If you want to continue and watch this hearing with me, I'd love to have you all here. If not, maybe I do a pop-up tomorrow and we'll continue this. So thank you for spending 2 hours here on your lunch break with me. If you're on your lunch break, and if you're new to the channel, please make sure to subscribe. Give me a thumbs up here in the comment section, or if you're watching this on replay and you know any of these people that how I can get in touch with them and have them on the show, please have them reach out to me. Again, it's Let's Talk Live Podcast at gmail.com, and we will continue the horror that is the Brockton High School, and hopefully get some relief over there soon, because this is just out of control. All right, everybody, have a great afternoon. I'll see you all soon, possibly back tonight. If not, sometime tomorrow, I'll pop up and finish this and continue to talk about this story. And thank you for all caring about this, because it is a big thing. When it comes to kids, that shit hits my soft spot. You know, it needs to be taken care of, and, you know, they need action quickly. So I will talk to you all soon. Thank you so much. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
True crime, we going deep in the dark. Yeah, peeling back the layers, exposed the hidden them up. Yeah, from the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie. Getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi. Escape true crime, unraveling the web of evil. No stone left unturned. We dive into the crime. Yeah, we digging up the dirt, bringing justice to the crime. LTL true crime, unveiling dark realities of the crime. Unraveling the web of evil. No stone left unturned. We dive into the crime. Yeah, we digging up the dirt, bringing justice to the crime. LTL true crime, unveiling dark realities.